should be banned away. We really saw the power yesterday when Flash Wolves beat Coup Tigers Mabel in the late game on that Gangplank. Completely just took over the fights.
Yeah, and some interesting background on Gangplank. In that game, Maple actually did 40% of his damage as magic damage. So that's coming from the ultimate use. And actually, overall, the average across the world of Gangplanks, the champion just in general normalizes at around 25% magic damage. So it's a lot more magic damage than you would expect.
Also helps when you miss all your barrels. So
I mean, that's why it was 40% compared to the average of 25.
So let's see here. Gangplank is already being banned away. Lulu as well. We would expect Mordekaiser being the last one for SKT.
Yeah.
That would be an Elise first pick for EDG, unless they wanted Darius up in the top lane. That could be the trade-off SKT is looking for, because Amazing J already played it twice and has been looking pretty solid overall on it.
Yeah, the top lane is so interesting to me. I'm always trying to keep up with the counter picks in that lane because it's so snowbally. But generally, yes, Gnar is really safe into a lot of the new power picks like Darius and Fiora. However, Gnar gets countered by Yasuo. So it's this kind of circle where you can't pick Gnar early and you have to wait to see and hope for that counter pick in the top lane.
So, in case they do take a Kalista here, I just want to talk a little bit about why. She's a pick that still a lot of teams consider one of the absolute strongest AD carries. And I think in a matchup where it's so much about jungle support synergy, having a strong dual lane is super, super important, because if you win that lane, it opens up for your support to start roaming. And at the same time, if you manage to shut down the enemy spot, he's forced to sit there with his AD carry. He cannot leave the lane, so Kalista suddenly has a lot of value as that lane bully. You can even go Kalista Thresh now if they want, or an Annie pick for Mako.
Meanwhile, SKT not giving away anything with their first two picks here. They want to save counter picks for solo lanes as far down in the draft as they possibly can. Rek'Sai, all around great champion, works into any sort of composition that they could possibly run. That does leave the Elise you mentioned for Clear Love.
Well,
never mind, it was banned.
That was banned. So it's good to take Rek'Sai. Again, it would have been the choice for Clear Love. This one here would then kind of change the way EDG maybe were looking to play the early game at first, where they could look to really skirmish early on with the top laner, with your jungler. Skarner, to me, is a good duelist, like one-on-one. If he fights on a Spire there, I think he's very good. But his ganks pre-level 6 are very lackluster.
They definitely are. And even more so after the balance changes to him.
I really like this lane, though. I think he's still one of the strongest 2v2 lanes, and he works as well, and also offers that hard engage. We know for Mako, he's on point. So already EDG are setting up for, as we talked about just before, strong 2v2 lane that can open up for your support then to start roaming while the other support is stuck on the tower, and you get that map advantage.
Plus, having the engage like the Kalista Annie combo does so much for Darius. The one problem for Darius, he's not a tank, he's not an initiator from the top lane.
He needs CC, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we'll see what these guys can pick to fill in the rest of this role. Then SK Telecom T1 just have tanks so far. If Marin wanted to play a carry, he could do it with his lineup so far.
I really want to see them just pick a safe blind mid laner, 4 Faker in the mid lane, and get that last pick for Wolf. Never mind, that Darius is open. I'm way out.
You talk about safe lanes there. Renekton still extremely strong in the top lane, and Marin definitely no stranger to the champion. Has plenty of history with it.
So I got my wish. They were going to get the counter pick in the top lane for Marin. He could pick whatever he wanted. They just didn't have to wait because, of course, EDG had already shown theirs. We're not expecting Darius to go into the mid lane.
Well, Olaf made his appearance there, so...
Yeah. Wide champion pools here. So, interestingly, SKT have been able to counterpick on every single one of the main carry roles here. Sivir after seeing the entire bot lane matchup, Renekton after seeing Darius, and they've saved Faker's champion for last year. So, you'd expect that SKT would like all of their lane matches. None of them should be too hard of counters.
2 armor buff. And now,
don't forget 5 AD on Warrior.
Yeah, see, you're so quick to dismiss Darius mid. Could swap the Echo if you really wanted to.
I think Echo is a really, really safe mid lane pick. You can farm it against basically everything. So I heavily expect this to go into the mid lane, and it's again, Faker, you don't really have a specific counter pick into it. It should be at least an even matchup at best.
Yeah, by the way, for people who haven't been keeping up with the patch changes, the reason we're assuming that Echo is going to be solo lane full AP is because of those recent changes. A big nerf to the tank Echo jungle build. So we're assuming that will be a solo lane.
Though one of the picks I do like into Echo is a Rise. Because I think what's very, very good is you can so easily keep him in check. You get a free lane as well for yourself where you kind of just trade farm. And the scaling of a Ryze is just so insane still. It's a lot slower than it used to be. But once he hit those late game points, he's still a monster.
I say, though, you never really get a free lane against a jungle Jarvan. It's been a while since we've seen Jarvan in the jungle. He's one of those champions that can go for the high impact level 2 gank. All he needs is one camp to unlock the combo. And he can go try and burn something from Ryze.
And again, that's the whole story. What can the two junglers do against each other? We know Bengi, he likes to be in the top side of the map. He wants to snowball both Faker and Marion up there. At the same time, we expect Mako to have a big impact joining in with Clear Up, and we have to see if Wolf here can follow, because that 2v2 can really shut down both the mid laners, and of course a top lane matchup as well that can heavily tip in favor of each side. Whoever gets that early great start.
And that's the funny thing, is the one lane we're really not expecting to see a lot of kills in is that bottom lane. Even though Kalista's a great laner, these supports are more about roaming out and make other things happen. They tend to be a little bit safer in the 2-on-2 match, just play style wise. So seeing again how they affect the rest of that map is going to be really interesting.
And I really do like EDG going back to the Jarvan for China here, because with the Cataclysm, it's one of the tools that you can use effectively against Sivir as a jungler. She's one of the most frustrating AD carries usually to play against as a jungler, yet you can keep her there.
Or you can run around fast in the circle.
You can run around circles all you want, but it makes it a pretty easy target there for Defta and Mako.
Well, we'll see how good these targets are going to be, because we're getting ourselves into the game here. The first one of day 3, and you guys at home are always involved with this one. Stay connected with us over on Twitter and share your game predictions for this first match. Use hashtag EDGWin or hashtag SKTWin for the team you think is going to come out on top. The mid-season invitational champions from China, Edward Gaming, or the #1 team and former world champions SK Telecom T1 over from Korea. As we get ourselves into the game, here we go.
And it really seemed like SK Telecom, they were ready for the Darius pick. Even when they saw the Echo, they were very quick to lock in Ryze last, again saving that pick for Faker because Darius had a high priority for EDG, so they wanted to pick it early and blind. So SKT, in their mind, have some good setups, and we just have to see what Benki now can do on this Rex side.
Yeah, the red side counter picks definitely been rising in importance here. That being said, even if you are ready for the Darius top lane, Darius plus Jarvan, very scary early game combo as well.
And I think one of the great things about Darius and why teams like him so much is even if he doesn't have the greatest matchup in the world, he can still farm pretty well, he can still be a threat, and he always has that risk in team fights where he gets that first reset and just kind of keeps going from there.
Right. The one thing he does lack, though, an escape. If he's targeted early, you can snowball against Darius just as well as you can snowball with Darius because he does not have the extra mobility. Renekton will be able to move around that lane even if they blow his flash.
Oh, it's so easy for Renekton to set up the stun. Double dash, stun him down. But it's going to be a lane swap in the start. Both teams, or well, one team, SKT, starting in their own jungle, and we see the invade now for EDG just to make sure we divide the map properly and nobody's stealing away an early Grumble blue buff.
Yeah, they're trying to catch a greedy start here, but instead it's just going to be Edward Gaming spotted by a late defensive trinket ward by SKT, which gives a lot of vision advantage to that Korean team.
SKT actually with the safest possible start, starting on their own red side jungle on the strong side of the map. And they're rewarded for it with that defensive ward. They did see the sort of late invade there from EDG, so they'll be slightly ahead, half a camp.
And we're going to have 2 lanes pushing in towards the tower with the AD carries. And early
Speaking of pushing.
So already being shoved up Faker, he needs level 2 for that Rune Prism.
But here comes everybody. Pawns by himself, jumps forward, tries to get out of range, and Faker's not too. Didn't have Rune Prison, couldn't lock him down.
Yep, great use of the minion wave there, Pawn. Even though shoving up exposes you, early on, the damage coming from the ranged minions especially is tremendous, and Faker could not continue the chase there, even with the rest of his team coming out of the river.
It's always so key, though, which side you're standing at. in this mid lane when we have these early lane swaps, 4 members showing on top side. Well, of course, you're just going to bounce down towards the bottom, and they're never going to chase you and like blindly face check into someone.
This is something that Pond does so well for his team. I mean, even we just talked about his team was a little bit behind because of sort of late invade. By drawing the rest of SKT out of the jungle to try and gank mid, he bought them a bit of time to catch up here, and SKT have been double jungling, and they've cleared out almost everything.
But this is very much the standard Western lane swap in so many ways. The only change we normally see is the top laner coming and taking down tower. SKT is doing it, EDG is not. They continue to double jungle, so they're they're slightly behind in tower damage, but this is an adaptation from the Asian teams. It's no longer that freeze with your top laner and play a very slow lane swap. It's fast-paced. You want to get down that early tower and then swap the lanes around.
And bottom lane right now, though, even though it hasn't gotten any help at all, is down to 626 health, so not much worse off.
Yeah. Mako making good use of the Spell Thief's early buy there. Let's see if they transition into the Dragon. They've started it already.
Pond burns his first teleport, getting a second Doran's Ring, so he's going to be using that to help keep this lane afloat. Top lane turret's already gone. SKT have built the freeze, but a Dragon will come through for Edward Gaming.
So I'm normally never a fan of taking a Dragon this early in a lane swap because I think the tempo of which you can now swap back really gets slowed down so much. Your tower is not dead yet, so by the time Amazing J catches a lane, it's either going to be slow pushing towards SKT on the top side where Marin is sitting, or he's going to have to walk down bot lane where he's going to be met by 2 guys, Bang and Wolf, instantly, and he won't be able to pick up any farm, so he sacrificed experience on getting an early Dragon for the team.
Yeah, that's a good point. Most definitely Marin has got the push going towards him right now, so he's going to leave it right there. Should move up close to the turret, and he'll get back in time.
And he knows because he saw how late Kalista was sitting in the bottom lane, and because the tower didn't even go down from EDG in this lane swap, with them taking the Dragon, that of course Darius is going to return to the top side. So he went for an early recall, got a second Dorans and boots, and of course that green ward that can be important when it comes to this early aggression.
That being said, you can see EDG is thinking behind taking the early Dragon. This composition that they're running does rely on drawing SKT out. They don't have a lot of siege potential, so the early Dragon stacking is one of the key points they wanted to hit early.
I do want to bring up one point about this 2-on-2 matchup down here, though. Even though Bang did get some turret gold, the average blade is in here. Deft has 6 extra attack damage from the Dragon itself, so he's actually got much better actual just damage output in an eventual trade in this fight.
And also, he's a Blade of the Ruined King AD carry, so for him having 800 gold is perfectly fine. You just get some lifesteal. For a BF Sword AD carry, on the other hand, it is really, really annoying. You cannot get a pickaxe, you have to go for average blade, so Bang is really weak at this point, and it's one of the reasons teams prefer Kalista above these Infinity Edge AD carries, because earlier you can be more proactive. You can force play a little bit more with these early items where you don't need the 1550 gold before you go back.
Because SKT or EDG actually didn't take that turret in the bottom side though, there is the turret there for SKT to rely on, and Bang and Wolf have been controlling this wave, keeping Deft and Mako under the turret for a decently long time, and they've got a lot of wards in the red side jungle of EDG.
We need to see Bengi though pay a visit to this top lane. Darius, he has his flash ready, but at least blow that one, because the lane is such a tricky spot for him. If you notice up here, there's no tower behind him. There's no real way of escaping a double dash stun from Marin. It's a very easy gank, and you just, of course, gotta look for that counter gank from the Jarvan.
Yeah, and you just have to be very tricky with your gank path as Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai is so flexible. She can tunnel over the back of the Baron Pit, try and walk around the Scuttle Crab, sneak on through it, and squeeze through there to work your way around the wards. Bengi here is going to go straight through the jungle.
The pink.
Oh, barely.
Very important though, you can see how EDG has been focusing vision on the top side. Rift Scuttler, a pink ward in the river to try and protect Amazing J. It's an easy target. It's very obvious for them what's going to happen. So 3 ways of basically spotting Bengi. Works out for them for now. And yeah, Bengi has to go back into his jungle.
All right, he got 1 deep board though. He'll track when Pond goes for his own blue buff about a minute and a half from now. Meanwhile, though, it didn't, I believe, track clearly. Was already down to the bot side. Wolf gonna face check and be okay with this one. Looks like no turret dive will happen. This turret was already very low. Bang was already gone. Eventually, the turret is picked up, and Edward Gaming, in the grand scheme of things, equalized the turrets and still has first Dragon.
It is so key for them that this 2v2 lane can do well. The item advantage they're going to get with the early backs from the AD carries, they get down the tower. Fight in mid lane, Bengi coming in.
Not going to be a hit on a Pond, though. Already burned his flash to get away. His teleport's right about back up, so he's going to be okay. But I want to point out the fact that SK Telecom are up 900 gold already because his top lane matchup, his Marin Renekton counterpick into Darius, is making Amazing J's life miserable.
It will get a little bit better because there's a cannon minion double wave right there, but you're right. It's still going to be a significant advantage.
And this is what we talked about with taking this early dragon. Instead, you could have Amazing Jay sitting in the bottom lane when the tower goes down, so he gets the gold for it. Bouncing back, comes to him, so he picks up experience, but no, they move him in towards the dragon, takes and then force himself to go top lane in a wave pushing away from him.
It all depends on how much you're willing to pay for the early dragon stacking, though, because it is
a lot for now.
Yeah, it is important to them.
Well, that's what they've paid so far. They've paid about 1,000 gold for that dragon. Even in the old days, that wouldn't even be an equal trade of gold anymore. We're, of course, past the gold value dragons anyway, but Bengi on towards the blue buff himself. Faker, by the way, has already won his mid lane. He's up 12 CS and is about to be done into blue buff as Bengi takes a bit more damage than he'd like, but do the best he can. Faker, he gets some more CS where he even walks over. I mean, really greedy.
Mid lane, yeah, you can wait at the blue buff. I don't care. You can take a bit of damage.
That's definitely triggered me right now. Like,
are you tilted, Kobe?
If the mid laner doesn't come over by the time you get the blue buff down, then it's fair game to take it.
You just always start the buff right when I recall. That's how you make sure you get your own blue buffs. Just
Faker,
try to
though,
take awkward timing.
Yeah, I would never, ever take a blue buff from Faker. I would die at the blue buff before I took it from Faker.
What if he was playing Yasuo?
Because Faker is the late game carry for this team. He's had such a good start on Rise. He's already got both the components for the stacking mana items on Rise, and he's controlling his lane. There's just so much power in the mid lane here for SKT, and they've also been able to ward up around the mid lane for him.
Yeah, Echo got locked in blind. I was like, hey, you know, so many good matchups, can farm against it. Just a few bad ones, and Faker is instantly ready with one of them. He's saying himself he can play all the champions in the game. He knows almost every single matchup, and once again, he's showing that he has a massive champion pool.
Whoop. Oh, I just missed the Q, though. Faker missed a skill shot on a minion.
Well, ignore everything I just said.
Yeah. Faker confirmed to be human at least, or the robot's been calibrated badly. We're seeing Clearlove look for a play here. Mako also hiding behind the Fog of War. They're looking to make a play. There's no turret down there, and Rek'Sai just used ulti, so Bengi can't join in if something goes awry.
Both top laners are full health with teleports as well. You can already see Pawn going to farm Race, so I don't think they're actually going to try and press this.
Ooh, spotted on a ward now. EDG instead are going to make the play for Dragon. That was the... Looks like the ultimate goal, but they're facing so many wards. SK Telecom just put those down. That was Bengi, who just got a ton of wards over this dragon area.
And this is the main problem with giving up too much gold for the early dragon. It becomes really hard, even though you have the first one and you want to start stacking them, you can get up to 5 quicker. You don't have the gold to fight the consecutive dragon fights.
Exactly. The thing about dragon is it looks great to get 1, you get 2, you get 3. You're like, yay, we're all happy we got some buffs, but they're not worth that much compared to getting a tower, extra farm, experience on maybe your top laner. So it becomes so much more difficult for you to get those 5 dragons.
Baker.
Well, shield comes up for Pawn. They're going to go for the play. There's the jump in, and oh, man! It took him 11 minutes, but Edward Gaming first blood's Faker.
That will make taking the second dragon a bit easier.
It helps. Yeah. A lot of wards, though, from SKT towards this bottom side. They have pinks in the river. They had one on the other side, and yet Faker, in the end, gets caught up because the roam coming up from Mako, joining with Clearlove. These two guys together, they're going to shut down SKT, or at least going to try.
Marin's heading down, and Faker has teleport when he revives in 5 seconds. There's wards right on EDG. They're not going to give this one up. Amazing Jay's going to have to join the team, I think. There's the ulti in for Wolf. TP in, but down goes the support. Edward Gaming 2-0 to start, but now Clearlove gets attacked. That's a trade kill back in Pawn. Now stuck on top of the dragon. Faker gets his first kill of the game, and then still trades back and forth, but EDG are routed. 3 dead so far. The dunk, it's going to make Bang please. He's not going to survive it, but SKT gets more kills and they get the dragon.
Woo, they're able to stop the stacking. What a call there from SKT. Able to clean it up and pressure down bottom as well. Dragon achieved plus bottom lane turret pressure. Oh, they might even get depth here. Faker's going to cut him off.
You want some farm.
All right, the 2 solo laners. Here comes the teleport from Amazing Jay. No, it's going to be Pawn, but Death's already dead. Marin has Aga, but he's not taking any damage. Pawn tries to set up the stun. He will not catch Faker thanks to the flash. A bit of damage on a Marin, but can he really do much more than this one? Down to 400, but out they go. SKT 5-4. It's a delayed ace.
And another great thing here with Faker's Rise pick is against the Kalista who wants to jump around and kite you. You snare her instantly, you chain the CC with the rest of your team. But that dragon fight, That was one big Renekton who joined in all of a sudden.
All right, so let's take a look at the prep for this. Faker just comes alive. He comes off of the death timer, starts channeling the teleport, and SKT will have all 5 members here. Look at Marn straight to the back line. They take down Clear Love first.
This front line here for SKT is going to be so massive in this game. Bengi does go down in the end, but he's already done his job. And of course, a full HP Faker ready to clean up and bang with the potion. And sadly, the Doran's Blade lifesteal is not enough.
The mid lane teleports so underestimated. You have to not only worry about the side lane early ganks of it, but also the respawn timer for Faker. Perfect timing there, able to come right into the middle of the dragon fight. And SKT swing right back into this one.
If it looked bad for Amazing J before, after being sacrificed by his own team's greed for that first dragon, Marn just picked up some kills as well. He has a Tiamat completed. He can continue to just instant shove the wave, and then he can now start roaming from his top side. In towards the mid lane, around the blue buff of EDG, and suddenly that jungle no longer belongs to EDG. It's all going to be SKT's. And that means this mid tower is suddenly very open, or you just dive whoever's sitting there defending.
Yeah, it's looking for SKT. Unfortunately for Amazing J, it was his fault. He teleported so late into the dragon. I don't know if they didn't have wards, but he joined in after SKT had already started that fight. He's going to have to reap what he's sown now. Blue buff steal for Faker. He's feeling good about this one, but it will be a trade. Edward Gaming will get one for pawn.
Let's see what kind of deep wards they can get down to. EDG, they do have them inside the blue buff, but SKT pressing mid right now. 4 members on this turret might even be enough to get it. It looks like Mako and Clear Love not going to arrive in time.
EDG respecting the fact that also a Renekton can just come in from the side and don't want to risk anything. No TP for Amazing J. He's kind of stuck there with this wave, and slowly when you're always forced to just catch the big waves coming down to you, you're never going to be proactive because you're always waiting for this wave to hit around your tower, and then you farm it and they can see you sitting there. They know you're going to be there to pick up the farm, and SKT can then always make the first move, or at least just pressure EDG so much they have to back away from objectives and give them up for free.
Ooh, I actually like this here. Marn looks like he may be going for Spirit Visions for a second item, because for EDG's side, they've got the tank Jarvan, reducing a lot of the attack damage threat that they're going to have. And if Marn does get magic resist, then he'll be able to keep Pawn off of Faker, and that's really the only threat to SKT taking down SKT's carries for the late game.
Yeah, plenty of healing on the kid as well. Mechanically, it's going to be essentially the same as bonus health. And here we go, looking for the attempt on Faker, but Marn not going to find much. Bounces off a minion, and Faker's fine, just pressing R for the move speed.
Yeah, Mako, you don't want to hit the minions here, so you get shot back to your auto attack range after the Fate's call. In case you wanted to get in range, at least for Tibbers, but with Faker running back, I think it was safer just to say, you know what, let's not blow an ulti, and just back away. They didn't know where the rest of SKT were in the map, other than just Marn sitting up in that top lane.
Well, 2 minutes to go until Dragon respawns. Marn will easily have his teleport. Faker is going to have his too. Double teleport, of course, for both these teams right now. It's been SK Telecom done a better job of using them.
And for EDG right now, they really want to use this Echo here to try and move him to one of the side lanes. Let him become a bit of a split pushing threat if he can. Maybe find Bang and jump onto him. The problem is he's also the main wave clear for this lineup. So if he leaves the mid lane, it's so easy for Faker just to push it down instantly. It's easy for Marn to push down the top lane. And again, the top side of the map just belongs to SK Telecom.
Uh-oh. So much damage. Yeah, Marn trying to chunk him down. He's got a lot of damage this one. A couple more spells will do it. There's the hit, and wow, the solo kill. Marn chasing down Amazing J in the top lane.
And Amazing J was the question mark for us. You know, the team didn't do him any favors with that early start you kept mentioning, Deficio, with the lane swap, but getting caught out there, overextending versus Marn, and Marn's just going to take him down easily.
He's getting turret pressure now as well. Of course, Tiamat Double Doran's Blade is not exactly a low amount of attack damage, so 172 on him, knocking this down quickly.
Yeah, we mentioned so many times, these teams that do not take the wave clear have to be a lot more careful with getting behind in the early game, because if you are behind, then you give up a lot of the tower gold very quickly.
And that tower gold's basically 3-1 here. SK Telecom already knocked down all of the outers. Dragons up in 30 seconds, and SKT are not far away from getting number 2.
And right now, Marin is sitting on 1,500 gold. He should be able to go back, spend it before the Dragon fight. He's massive already. This Darius suddenly is just more or less going to be assisting his team by pulling in someone, try and line it up for Echo and for Kalista to take them down. But that damage against the front line of a very fed Marin, and then also Bengi with the Cinderhulk, that can stay alive for a while. Adding a Braum, by the way, against the Kalista to block so much of her damage.
Yeah, EDG are very worried at this point. They wanted this comp to get ahead, to keep the Dragon stacking, to keep the neutral zone control. Because they do have problems when you get to the scaling here. The Rise and the crit-based AD carry versus the squad that EDG have to be a little bit worried.
EDG wanted too much. They wanted the Dragon stacks, they wanted the early game, and that's not going to happen.
And Bang was even allowed to play greedy. He bought Avarice Blade first items, been stacking it still throughout the entire game. It's given him 550 gold so far in that one, so just a lot being stacked up here. Faker, both mana items are basically done here. Tier's got to be close to fully stacked. Seraph's Embrace likely to be the next combine there from that needlessly large rod. And with Dragon up, SKT already leading by almost 5,000 gold, and Edward Gaming going to try to defend, but that seems unlikely.
Yeah, you can even wait for Marin just to poke Amazing J a bit more. We see it, he constantly goes in, he can just sustain back with his Hydra, and suddenly now, if a fight breaks out, it's a 50% HP Amazing J coming in with just a Black Cleaver. That's 1 or 2 hits and he's down.
Yep, Marin with his original top lane bully, Renekton, bringing back the old flavor.
We wondered if the teams were going to show anything. SKT on the red side here really showed some very, very smart picks, and maybe EDG getting punished for showing Darius so early in the draft, really putting a lot of priority for Amazing J on it. He's played it every single game here at Worlds, but it allowed SKT to suddenly not have to blind pick a safe mid laner, but get a counter pick for Faker and a counter pick for Marin.
And it all worked well. Every single person been able to do just fine from SK Telecom T1.
Whoa. This is actually a risky invade here because Bengi doesn't quite have Faker close enough. Yeah. It was just looking to bluff him off of that red buff.
Yeah. All is well, all is well. Def gets the red buff himself. He's got Blade of the Ruin King done already. Level 11, but no Hurricane in, so that second item really quite important for Kalista in the real team fights here. SKT, of course, already got the Dragon pretty easily, so it's back to doing whatever they want.
Yeah. I am going to keep my eye on EDG's use of True Sight, though, because they have been one of the best teams as far as pink ward droppage and upgrading their sweepers fairly early. They really do need to start clearing out some of these SKT wards that have crept into their jungle. They've got defensive wards up, but the True Sight is going to be key if they want to try and make a comeback.
Yeah, simply just been pushed so far back on the map ever since the early game where Marin got that big lead. They got a kill on Faker in the middle, and that's been about it when it comes to the aggressive plays from EDG, because there's not been any openings, and they constantly have to worry about Marin, and he's not getting to the point where he's going to get outscaled or anything. I mean, Renekton's late game is not the greatest, but he just becomes a massive tank then.
Yeah, it's interesting, though. He went for such an aggressive build. He was building to continue the split push power, right? Go in and finish the Ravenous Hydra instead of going back for an armor item or getting some more durability. He's trying to push Amazing J out of the lane. Now he builds a Giant's Belt, but really trying to knock that side of the map down.
Speaking of Faker on this Rise, who had such a good early start, besides that one death, he is almost done stacking his tier. Only 100 mana left on that, and only 2 stacks left on the Rod of Ages. So his damage is through the roof. In the next 2 minutes, it's going to be there.
And I like this move here from SK Telecom. Take the split, push it down to the
there it is!
Flash and Death with the Rune Prison.
Oh, the Q lands, and that's going to be the kill. Ult not needed. Faker picks up the 7th kill of the game for SK Telecom T1, and just like that, they run towards Baron.
And Wolf going to make it count there. If it wasn't for Braum jumping in and landing that Winter's Bite, they wouldn't have been able to finish it.
Baiting it.
Baron bait.
Hiding around the corner. Look how he's throwing spells in there, so they think he's doing it.
Well, also he's trying to charge up
the passive.
It both works. We like it. We take it.
No ulti, does have flash, wasn't able to use it to stop anyone out there. Unfortunately, burned the cooldown during the kill onto Deft, and SK Telecom T1, by going for the bait, get nothing off of that kill. He's going to respawn and all will be well.
A small raptor right there.
Okay, that's valuable in some kind.
But what is EDG going to do, really? Because once they send down someone to stop Marin on the bottom side, he's just going to go straight into your face and poke you down to 50% again. And then SKT can even start baiting around Baron, and then have the advantage of a stronger top laner coming in.
That's why we keep highlighting how snowbally these 4 teleport games are, because the team that gets the advantage is the one who can utilize that cross-map play. The team that's behind, even if you answer it, you're outmanned and you're outgunned because there's too much gold on SKT's side.
Well, everyone except for the top lane is at least keeping close in farm, but the problem is SK Telecom up 2 turrets, up the Dragon, and up about 83 CS, and the Marin versus Amazing J matchup are getting farther and farther and farther ahead. Han has yet to find any meaningful stunts with the W, but here comes the teleport flank coming in. It's going to be a home guard to Renekton.
They canceled the call. Faker didn't want to use his teleport as well, apparently. So they are going to let them retreat to the turret.
So that does buy a little bit of time now for EDG, because it is Marin that is so insanely strong. He's the guy you want to have on the bottom side of the map split pushing, but even if he does get ganked by 2 or 3 guys, he can often escape with double dash, and you can then go for Baron. But EDG still needs to understand that this can happen, but they're so far back on map. So, you know what, EDG, they said to themselves, guys, we get a small break here, teleport is down, and SKT's like, well, no, we're just going to take Baron.
Marin is running interference here, keeping everybody from even getting close to the Baron, and SKT easily going to burn that down.
Perfectly done. They kept vision control for the last minute and a half straight after that previous bait. They let no wards go back in. They stayed on that side of the map, and they knew it was blacked out. Ever Gaming too good to face check. Give it away.
And everything we see right here is simply just something that started at like minute 5. Of this game, with the decisions that were made early on in the lane swap from EDG. Also again, with the pick and ban phase where they showed that Darius early, Ryze suddenly became such a fantastic pick. 1 against Echo, 2 against the Kalista as well. And Faker have managed to just do his job. It's been more about, of course, what the Renekton can do, but he was also in that massive advantage.
Yeah, Marin's got to be the MVP for this game. He was set up for success by SKT, but man, the captain of the team, he's on Renekton right now with the huge peak in power. Adding the Sterix plus the regen from the Hydra here, he's going to be... It poses such a difficult question for the enemy team. If you try and take him down and pour damage into him, he only deals more to you, plus he's going to be life-stealing for a tremendous amount. And if you ignore him, he's so fed right now that he's going to rip you apart either way. So, yeah. Catch 22 there, very difficult to deal with.
It's going to be nearly impossible to deal with Marin here. Going to see if they can find a fight without him. His teleport is still down, and Clearlove trading blows with Bangi, close to equal on both sides. Cinderhulk for both these junglers, despite the warrior buffs in the recent patches. Seems like being a full tank is what they want. Bang popped the ulti to look for depth, but nice easy hop over the wall and nothing picked up there except the Wolfcam.
By the way, notice that he did go for the Ravenous Hydra rather than a Titanic, even though he's Renekton, who gets extra health, and he's built extra health items on top of that, really valuing the lifesteal to stay in the fight.
Well, it's a specific mechanic on the item. Ravenous Hydra is actually an activatable spell, whereas Titanic is an on-next hit, so it doesn't break the W animation, which is so common for high-level Renekton players there. You pop it after the W. Of course, uncontestable, SKT just completely owns the map. Edward Gaming have shut down. They have no way to get back in the map and stop what SKT is doing.
Slow and steady for SKT right here. It's been the same when they faced H2K. They never really went over-aggressive. When they had the lead, they knew how to play it out, and there's just so little room for EDG to make any kinds of comebacks.
Yep, Bang here with a couple of Baroned up minions going to take it down. I have to say, though, Freak, it does go both ways, since the Titanic has on hit, and W counts as multiple hits.
Yeah.
You get multiple actives there, so I really do think the difference is in the lifesteal factor.
All right, well, either way, he's gone for that lifesteal factor, and he's still doing quite well for himself. 3-0 and 3. The only Death member on his team, in fact. Marin sees that his top lane turret went down. He's angry and kills the minions for it, but still. It's Ever Gaming at best getting trades, but still losing and losing and losing in Dragons.
Exactly. So for SKT, no rush yet. Not at all, really, with the Ryze coming in for the late game. Already fully stacked on tier, Rod of Ages. It is heaven right now for SK Telecom. There's only one outer turret left in the mid lane. And only really the Echo as the wave play on the side of EDG. You can go for a dive if you want on SK Telecom side. It's not really much of a threat too.
Yeah, I mean, well-prepared game by SKT, but really well executed as well. I mean, we always mention shot calling and briefly sort of gloss over it. It looks like Bengi here kind of work on some true sight, and Faker goes in.
Finds Clearlove at a ton of damage right away. They try to burst him back out, but Faker's totally safe. Clearlove running away as fast as he can, but it's not good for Pond in the mid lane. He's getting a lot of damage on him. A knockup comes back through thanks to Maka, but look how little damage Marin is taking. The Echo finally falls. It's a 1 for 0. SKT had to work for it. No, 2, as Clearlove followed well.
Still win the fight, though. That was the engage from EDG. They can do with the Annie, with the Kalista, but they just have no damage at this point. SK Telecom pushing it down 2 lanes. Faker decided to say, you want to jump me? I'm just going to go down to the bottom lane and start farming.
Yeah, I was going to, start filling there with some explanations behind shot calling and try to elaborate, but SKT keep up the pressure here. They don't let you breathe for a second. There was an outer turret left staying that they wanted to claim first.
So it's interesting how defensive SKT are playing this game, but first, let's take a look at that fight.
Well, we get the hard engage. It's what EDG basically have to do. They think they can catch out Faker, but he has the shield. He can flash out from this one, and then the movement speed to just run away, and the rest of SKT's come in. Marin is still such a monster in the backline.
Yeah.
And there's no damage to take him down.
Exactly. That's the full tank Jarvan that we mentioned earlier. Even though they're able to get the combo of Annie and him, locking up Faker, they stunned him, chained it into the knockup. There's just no damage to follow it up.
So I wanted to bring up something really briefly around the defensive play of SKT, right? They're taking a long time to kill the turrets. They're not really diving into anything too crazily. Bang not only went 3rd item Quicksilver Sash, but he's actually maxing Spell Shield 2nd. He's already got 5 points on that on the Sivir, leaving Ricochet alone. That's actually very uncommon as far as Sivir builds go, but it basically guarantees he's not going to get caught out by the Darius. He can Spell Shield a lot of his spells and not get killed in the back line.
You're in a situation where being more defensive in terms of your items and in terms of your skills is even better, because again, there's just no way for EDG then to kill you, even if you do play a little bit over-aggressive. And it's just so good for SK Telecom in this situation. They can already now basically start looking at what went so well in this game, because they're obviously going to face EDG one more time in this group, and they want to make sure they can 2-0 them now so they get that #1 seed. Because this performance here, it was a very, very smart pick and ban phase. And I think EDG made some clear mistakes. We've highlighted them a few times. We're showing picks early, and then this early dragon is just the wrong call. You can never do it.
Yeah, it's that dragon call that we just have to keep revisiting, because that was the breaking point there. They were a little lackadaisical getting down to the dragon after killing Faker, and opening up the option there to keep the chain going. But that's, again, why we praise the good shot calling so often. It's because it's the ability to quickly assess the game state and make a choice based on the probability of success of the play, weighted by the net gain that you'll get from that play.
At Season 4 Worlds, Samson White came in as a team. They had, so many different things they put in. They tried to change the meta. It was for the better. They had so many smart calls. One of the things they did so well was value experience over buffs or gold or whatever in lane swaps in the early game. So by taking early dragon, it might look fancy on paper. Hey, we got some more AD, some AP coming in. But when you're falling behind in experience, it just starts a small effect where suddenly you fall further and further behind. It becomes harder and harder for you to do anything. SK Telecom, of course, knowing that, just executed really, really well, and then use this Renekton to just constantly go aggressive.
Yeah, you always have to keep that opportunity cost in mind. That's why a lot of North American teams as well have been deprioritizing rushing for the early dragons.
Oh, close one there. Amazing J nearly pulls in Bengi. He didn't have a lot of support near him. It would have been a bit of an effort, but here comes the push back in. Mako in the front lines will get pulled back, but now Pond is alone in front of the enemy team. He's going to ult to run away. Marin still tanking up in the front line. Amazing J now the sole tank in this one, and it's a little bit of knockouts coming through. Faker now getting attacked. Big shields, but he's going to go down. Deft is still alive in the background, and Bengi's going to be next, but there's still damage coming through from Marin. Pond will drop down, and it's a 2 for 1. The chase can continue. Marin's not far. He smells blood.
Yeah, he's got no flash, though, and chasing a Kalista, very frustrating.
There's a minion wave coming.
Guided.
EE into Q. Summoning he'll use for the movement speed. Def will get away, but it's a 3-1 fight again for SKT.
That looked so good in the start for EDG. Almost looked like the perfect fight to get back. We saw a massive Echo ult into the back line, into an Hourglass, a lot of damage coming down, and yet they simply cannot take down the remaining members. So 3 guys on it now. Faker has TP in 3 seconds. Bengi has his ulti as well.
Yeah, good call to just grab the vision from the Scuttle Crab there first, not take the risk. SKT are in the position where they continue stacking dragons. This will be number 4. And it should be a fairly trivial task for them to complete it. No vision.
No recall for you, Dev.
BDG should not go face check it.
I'm just going to clear the waves. Bengi feels safe while tunneling around the map. No one's touching his Rek'Sai, certainly, and all's going to be well as SK Telecom T1 makes their way down to the bottom side of the river, and there's a dragon waiting.
Oh. Number 4. For SK Telecom, no threat and no real way for EDG to like rush a Baron and maybe try and trade it. There's already wards on that side, and for them to move that far out is so risky. Let's see the fight again, though. So they're checking in because they want to see if Baron has been taken, and this fighting in a choke point at first. Look at the Echo going in. It's a stun first. I thought it was the ulti, but he actually jumps out with that. But he goes in with the stun and buys time for at least Deft to deal some damage.
Yeah, but because Spawn didn't get any damage off with his ultimate, that's a huge chunk that they're missing here. Deft was able to kite very effectively during that and get off a lot himself, but we're back into the action.
And it's already a knockup coming through. Wolf now retreating to keep himself alive, and a big knockup from Bengi means more is going to happen there. Marin absorbing in the front line. Mako's going to be the target there, quickly picked up. The dunk doesn't mean much here, and there we go. Amazing J just can't get enough damage. Faker survives. Pawn gets a single kill, but it's a 2-for-1 yet again. Pawn on the run, getting away from Bengi.
Even though Deft and Pawn survived, both of them extremely low, and they just have to go back.
Well, Pawn will get himself a shield. That'll block some more damage, but Baron Nashor has gone down. No smite needed. SKT with more global objectives, and vroom! Here comes Bengi.
That's your water ski noise?
He's still running.
Summoner TP will be enough. They won't see him in time. The Q doesn't root. Pawn's okay.
Yeah, his Q was going to hit, though.
It was.
2 points for accuracy.
It did miss. Does that really count as accuracy? Is it a dodge? Or I guess it's a dodge more than a miss.
Fair enough. I yield, freak. I have to say, though, this game has not been about Faker.
No. Nope. This entire, I mean, aside from the game against Bangkok Titans, which is a fun one, none of these games have been about Faker. They've been about Marin almost exclusively here. Game 1 is Fiora. Won them the game against H2K. Game 3 now is Renekton is honestly winning the game against Edward Gaming.
And team play, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's well-executed lane swap from SK Telecom, and then the fact we are in a meta where top lane can get out of control so easily, just a small advantage is enough to get him rolling. And when he has this pick with the Renekton, who can always jump on a low mobility Darius, it's so easy for him to just push the advantage over and over. And Sivir buffing them up, they're going in.
And in they go. Dev's going to get cleansed, but it's not going to be nearly enough. Faker picks up the kill. Mako's next easily. And there's really not much that Amazing J's going to do on this one. Pawn pops Yildi for a bit of damage. Sonya's to buy some time. But who even cares anymore? SK Telecom T1 barely take any damage as they ace Edward Gaming. It's just a formality now for the Nexus. That's going to do it. 3-0 start to the World Championship. SKT undaunted take down Edward Gaming.
We had one big team fight where it looked like